at the 90. Stand clear to port catwalk and fire line. Stand by to recover aircraft. This is a drill. Through the ages, been bravely given life. Will always break its word. We'll still follow this sword for freedom. The battle rages on.
Welcome, everybody. Good morning. This is Caesar with the Battle Rhythm Podcast. I am here live to you, coming to you from this year's VFW officer training. I believe they changed the name to it. It's no longer officer training school, but they've changed the name. And you know what? I'm very bad at those to remember those things, but I'm really glad that you're here today because it's a very, very important show. I have a very important task that right now the VFW, along with the Grunt Style Foundation, is actually doing right now. So I want to bring a couple of guests in for us today. I have the current state Department of Texas Commander Dave Walden here with me, and I also have the CEO Tim Jensen from the Grunt Style Foundation with us as well. Tim, first of all, welcome, Commander. Thank you for being here today and making time for us today.
No, thanks for having me, sir.
Tim, thanks for coming. You as well, sir. It's a Saturday morning, 10:30. I'm pretty sure right now we'd probably be eating breakfast.
Yeah, right on. Hey, I'm the Chief Brand Officer, not to make any corrections, but always want to present ourselves the right way. Yeah, and it's a beautiful Saturday morning, and we have a lot of operations that are happening across the state of Texas right now in response to the flooding of that travesty that occurred last weekend. So excited to talk about it. Thanks for having me on the show today.
Well, thanks for being here. Like I said, it's important for us to band together, especially as brothers and sisters in arms, that we not only do we help our own veterans, but also the communities that we are actually live in and serve in. So that's one of the things that the VFW, and that's one of your points this year, isn't it?
It is working with other veteran organizations, and I will tell you that this organization would not be possible without our partnership with Grunt Style Foundation. I mean, I don't even necessarily, if I had to look at the workload, I'd probably say, probably 60-40. Those guys, they're out there just kicking tail for us this year, and this great partnership with Tim Jensen and Grunt Style. They have also been walking the halls with us legislatively. We could not ask for a better partnership.
Right. That's also very good to actually bring it up, and I'm pretty sure we're going to bring Mitch Fuller a little bit later on, which is our national and also our state legislative representative, and we're going to talk to him about some of the things that have been going on. And Tim, I know you've been pretty involved as well with your foundation as far with some of the things that have been going on legislatively, right?
Absolutely. It really started years ago. When we were working with a group bringing World War II veterans into the Capitol. It was the 1-year anniversary of the World War II memorial being opened.
Oh, wow.
And they shut it down to sequestration, and we got involved in that to really get those veterans the opportunity to see the memorial. We were flying people in from the honor flights and all sorts of stuff. Like, these people probably would never have got that opportunity again. And that really set us on a course over the years of getting involved in community, getting involved legislatively, to where we have the foundation now, to where we spend a lot of our time there. We were key stakeholders along with the VFW in getting the PAC Act across the finish line. So we're super involved, and I'm really taken aback quite often on how wide Grunt Style has become in its abilities to really attach itself into community efforts from so many different perspectives and angles, really, that is benefiting the civilian and the patriot, the patriot and the veteran at the same time.
Well, it's your foundation, even the Grunt Style itself, the company itself has been, I think now it has reached a legendary status in the veteran community. So, you look around, everybody's wearing a Grunt Style shirt. I was like, oh, that's awesome. That, everybody just turn around and be like, oh, I guess that guy was a veteran too. But like, sometimes, like you said, they're also patriots. So.
Yeah, I'll tell you, if I'm not wearing a VFW shirt, I'm wearing a Grunt Style shirt.
Right. I told him I was like, this morning I was actually going to wear one of my favorite ones is his dad. So, but hey, let's get back to the point here. I just wanted to introduce you guys in a little bit, but I wanted to touch bases. So actually give people a background of what happened. So July 4th, as most of us were remembering our Independence Day, Texas actually woke up to some devastating news that a lot of people actually were affected by floods in the Guadalupe River in the Kerrville area specifically. So, and I know we have a specific post out there, the Kerrville post, that has been pretty much the center point of all of this, right?
Well, we have we've had several posts that have been impacted by this, and first, let me say that I may be the face of the VFW, but there are a bunch of harder working men and women than I am out there, and I want to give special shout out to Greg Brennan, who is my chief of staff on this. Greg has been instrumental on the VFW side, and with his efforts and Tim Jensen's efforts, I mean, we could not do what we did without them. And I just want to give you some of the highlights here.
Please.
And I'll let Tim, who's actually been on the ground, give a lot more than this. But again, 68 tons of supplies have been delivered to the affected areas as of right now. 68 tons.
That's awesome.
Daily deliveries of supplies have been going to not only Kerrville, but San Angelo and the other identified areas.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, Tim and Greg are working on a hub and spoke model.
Okay.
So we're taking in goods at various intake facilities,
mm-hmm.
and then getting them out to various posts as needed. They're supporting the feeding operations at Burnett, Marble Falls, starting on Monday.
Okay.
And then there's a mental health team on standby, coordinated by the state surgeon, Andrea Ortiz. Our state chaplain today, we just sent him down. He is now inserted with the SAR teams there to get that. Now, as far as we go ahead, posts and districts are starting to gather their supplies, and then they're going to get them to the distro points going forward. And one of the other things that we've done here is, I put out to the VFW to get some monetary donations made to the VFW Foundation for disaster relief monetarily, because one of our key beliefs, and Tim can talk more about this too, is that veterans' first response is to get out there and help everybody. And a lot of times we don't go back to our homes and check on what has been done to us until after everybody else has been helped. And so, as we logistically plan all this, there needs to be something there, weeks down the road when those veterans are realizing how impacted they are too. So, we're going to hold a little bit of that Texas VFW Foundation money back for that and get that into those areas at that time too. But I will say, for anyone watching, the Texas VFW Foundation, if you do the disaster relief option, there's no overhead on that. 100% of the donations that will go to these impacted areas, go to supplies to help these firefighters and veterans there. With that being said, Tim's done the brunt of this. Like I said, I'm just a pretty face on this, so I'm gonna let Tim take credit where it's due and talk more about this.
Well, thanks, Dave. It's been a crazy, last 6 days, right? We're going Saturday. Tomorrow will be the seventh day of our operation. And to much of what you talked about, Caesar, an unprecedented amount of rain had come through, right? 12 trillion gallons, I think, is what the meteorologists were saying, that dumped over
in July.
Right, in a 24-hour period. So that created a series of circumstances that has just caused nothing but devastation along the Comel, Guadalupe river areas. And that's a vast area, roughly about 150 miles. And I'm probably even, not even speaking to the full breadth, right? But, we're looking at, from, the Kerrville area all the way up into, San Angelo. And that's a massive distance, 2.5, 3 hours in between those two towns, right?
Right.
So, we're working with VFWs, activating them all along that river line as we are coming across them. It really started out in that Kerrville area. When I came online, we started collecting at the GS headquarters, Grunt Style headquarters.
That's awesome. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, and I think how that began really was like, hey, we could start leveraging this. I'm a trustee at Post 76. We got some space over there. I worked with our post commander there, Monica, and she just came online as the new post commander. So she's like, yeah, let's get this going. She gave us a space there, and we started using it as a little collection area. And then VFW Post 8800 came online. And there's about 3,000, 6,000 pounds worth of stuff at that location. That's where Greg and I descended on this together, and like, hey, we have an opportunity here that we could take all the VFWs in the affected area and start turning them on using, look at all these supplies that we got here. We got more supplies like Grunt Style. Let's start pushing this out into the communities. So him and I really just started calling around, like dialing for dollars. Hey, how's your post? You need help? Yada, yada, yada. And we started really just putting our attention into those areas, right? And it was just one after another started turning on. And now we've got this really developed model that within 7 days, right, we'll move, nearly 75 tons is, probably what we'll move by the end of operations tomorrow. We're at 68 tons right now. So that's quite an impressive effort that that is going on. And we've got operations that are happening as far as Houston. They're collecting. They sent 22 tons down, 2 truckloads yesterday, right, that were delivered to Kerrville and the San Angelo post. We've been working with the post in Marble Falls. We've been working with the post in Burnett. San Angelo is the latest to come on. We're looking at Llano and Leander up in that areas. We've got a fabulous individual by the name of Rudy Montez that's driving and bringing these initial supply points to get people stood up, and then we were able to flood them with more things behind that. So it's quite an impressive operations of a bunch of G-Waters that said, let's take what we know and do some battlefield tactics, put some battlefield tactics on top of that, and start executing a plan. And here we are making really big impacts into these local communities. Again, as far north as San Angelo, and as far west as Kerrville, Comfort, and Hunt, in some of those affected areas there. So it's been quite amazing.
I want to add in too that as our members from across the state, like you said, we are gathered here for Texas VFW member training in the. It's an unfortunate time because of the disaster, but sometimes business has to go on. But as our members have been hearing about the amazing work that Greg and Tim are doing, they've really pushed for us to get a department cert team going and get local people, and get these partnerships with people like Grunt Style and this going. So this is going to be something new for the department, and I think it's going to stand for a really long time because of the efforts of these guys, and seeing when veterans get together and veterans mobilize. As we've known since 1776, when veterans get together and they mobilize, there's nothing we can't do.
We're one of the oldest fraternities here in the
we are
US.
One of the oldest fraternities, the veteran fraternity. Absolutely.
However, we don't operate a lot like the sororities where they have their phone tree.
Right.
We should definitely look into that. We're actually making more a sorority, so the phone tree activated, like that blonde, what is it, Legally Blonde moment too. Yes. They just upload that way. But it's awesome. So Tim, let me ask you a question. So when you speak of all these different areas that where people are actually coming in and taking donations and giving donations and everything, people are still able to come in and either also help, right? That's the biggest thing that we need, manpower, for us to actually do the recovery efforts.
Yeah. It's there's still 160, 180 missing individuals, right? So this is going to be a long running operation, and with that comes a significant amount of challenges for any recovery operation that's happening, right? Is you're going to have the constant flow, ebbs and flows of support, right? As the middle of the week happens, you're going to get less participants because people have jobs, they have their own livelihoods they have to maintain, and then you're going to get a swell in the weekends, and then you have to plan your logistics against that, right? You're going to take less. You should probably build your reserves up during those midweeks when you have less people, but that's a challenge because then you don't have enough people to offload this stuff, to build your inventory needs for the weekend as the swell happens, and then you're just resetting and you're constantly, pulsing that to make sure that you have the appropriate stuff in need. This is just timing and logistics, right? All things that we have done, in 20 plus years of combat. So it's really just servicing that immediate need and making sure that we have long-term sustainment that is going to be able to continue that. So having those further out, collection points like Dallas and Irving that's going to be coming online. Greg's working with that one, and the Houston, continuing to collect up that way, and then scheduling to send it down our direction so that we are appropriately feeding it into the right areas. Because what we don't want to do is create a larger disaster by just flooding the zone, right? That's you flood the zone in the first 24 to make sure that the water and the protein are there for all the first responders, right? The search and rescue, right? Now we're in search and recovery, so we have to do a little bit more of a sustainment operation to make sure that there's just a constant flow of that water and the protein and the all the utilitarian stuff that needs to happen for the recovery efforts, clearing brush, trash bags, all the things, marking equipment for like this area has been searched and cleared, we're good, right? So all those things is where we're currently at, and I believe that we have about probably another week of that. Probably may start drawing down as soon as Monday. I'm not the expert here. I'm just reading off of all of the needs and watching and listening to these briefings that happen every night at 2100 that I've been a part of. So we've been really responding to that, which is fantastic because it puts us in a position that we're not reacting. And when you react to things, you don't have a plan, and chaos can really become your biggest enemy.
And I'll tell you in this too, Caesar and Tim. One of the things that I learned from Tim and Greg and the team here is that this is kind of a three-phase approach, as Tim was talking about, not only timing for all this other stuff, but there's also kind of three phases of this. There's the rescue, there's the recovery, and then there's the rebuild. And a lot of people don't realize that there's some places are still in rescue where others are in recovery. But once all this is done, then we get into the rebuild. And so this is not one of those things, it's one of those things that I'd like to remind people, because it gets kind of lost in the news sometimes where, everybody's focused on this for about a week or two in the news, and then all of a sudden it fades off. So please, don't let this fade off, because we're going to have people impacted on this for miles. And one of the things that we're developing right now in the state of Texas also is an ops plan moving forward, so that if something like this were to happen again, with our strategic partners, that we can help with this. And again, I cannot say, I'm going to speak to Tim in another role that he has. I cannot say enough as a Texas VFW State Commander how proud of two of my fellow veterans from Texas, from the Texas Veterans of Foreign Wars. I'm proud of Greg Brandon and Tim Jensen as members of the VFW, amongst all else, being out there saying, hey, we're going to be out there helping our brothers and sisters in arms and everything that they do for the community.
Yeah, well, in the Navy, we have a saying, Bravo Zulu. So
Bravo Zulu, Bravo Zulu to both.
So thank you for.
I'll say this, man. One of the coolest things, Dave, about this entire evolution is like when you call up and like, hey, this is post 10376. Oh, hey, my name's Tim. I'm with Grunt Style Foundation. I'm looking to see if you need any assistance. What is it that you need? And boom, it's like, okay, fantastic. Bam, bam, bam. Like that has been the coolest thing about all of this, is just seeing all these posts out there, and no ego, just what do you need? How can we help? And it's just an action, and it's an execution at that point. Like that's how these things need to happen. Where we have lost our way, and sometimes I think the plot in our country is we have this big reliance on federal government, right? Yeah. Everybody's still, I hear, is like, where's FEMA? Like, screw all of that. We don't need those people, because we can build our own things, and we can react faster than government ever will, and we'll provide a better service than the government ever will. So
there's no way the government gets 68 tons of goods in less than a week, Tim. There's no way.
Yeah, exactly.
Or they'll be sitting in a warehouse somewhere.
Yeah,
and
they'll be held up in customs. Right?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So with that said, thank you for actually mentioning FEMA, because we've had some questions that have come in our Facebook pages, and this is actually kind of goes along with the donations and stuff like that. So people actually they're leery because of, like, hey, again, you mentioned it takes forever for anything to come through, or they hold up in whatever. But one of the questions is, how long does it typically take for donations to make it to boots on ground, whether in the form of physical needs or financial needs?
So I will tell you that is assessed by the team, by Greg and by Tim. And so they're talking to some areas. So there were some areas that said, hey, we don't need it right now, hold off on it. But I will tell you, within the time that Tim gets notified, I think you've had about a 4 to 6 hour response time of getting goods on ground.
Yeah, it's quite quick, quite fast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, the man's a master at
Right.
distributing stuff. As far as financial foundation or financial assistance comes, when Greg and Tim let us know over there in the foundation, we will begin to do our best. Those donations should be hitting the people that need it in 12 hours.
That's great. And
less than 12 hours.
And I'm going to extend the invitation to both you and Tim to join me on Tuesday to give another update on this. It'll be on my regular showtime. That way you guys can come in and kind of give us a quick 15-minute update as to what happened over the weekend, obviously on Tuesday.
Sure.
That will be
Tuesday. I may have a conflict on Tuesday, but I will definitely see if Greg and he's smarter on this than I am, but my chief of staff can join on Tuesday as well.
Well, he's your right hand, so there we go. Yeah,
he's more than my right hand. He's holding me up right now.
I would also say for those that are wanting to make those monetary donations, right? It does get a bit bureaucratic when you're getting into a lot of these different places and donations. So you got to be very choice in your selections. I'll tell you how the VFW, what Greg and I have been experiencing is the partnership with the foundational side of it, right? With Beth West and that group over there is, there's those immediate needs that, sometimes we have to go to the store and we have to make those purchases, to get something on the ground, like now, right? And that's like a chainsaw or some oil, whatever the case may be, and that's where the foundation has been really good at making sure that those immediate needs are being placed. So if you want to talk about direct impact, that's where your money is going to go. Like, it's going to go right into those moments, is the relief fund that's established within the VFW Foundation. If you also want to make donations into the Grunt Style Foundation, we are running the same plays on our side, and making all these trips and runs. So that has to be funded through what we're doing is buying gas cards for everybody that's in the logistics train for us. So we are funding immediately, putting vehicles on the road, driving supplies from one location to the next. That is the most immediate way of impacting your dollar, or your dollar making impact rather.
Yeah, and as far as like physical donations, like perishables, things of that nature, like canned goods, can people actually take them to the post 76 or any other posts that are within the area?
The thing that we are wanting to do the most is, again, we got to make this a controlled operation, right? Because we don't want to contribute to the disaster that's already on the ground. And if we are not like controlling the amount of stuff that's going in, then it gets a little bit chaotic for the post that's on the ground, for us that's trying to schedule stuff. We're really trying to run a clean and lean information train there. So what I would say is, reach out to your post if you're wanting to make those donations. They could be part of the back end logistics train of getting things to a larger hub that comes to us on a scheduled run. But I would refrain from really trying to make those immediate donations that way, because it's just going to contribute to the chaos that's still on the ground there.
Okay.
I know everybody really wants to make an impact and do their part. There are great ways of doing that by, maybe just getting in the car and driving down, to, Marble Falls, Burnett, San Angelo, Kerrville, any one of these posts, and just being a valued hand. Like two hands make more for the effort than anything else right now.
Right. So, hey, Tim, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I do have to take a quick break. And I want to thank the commander for actually taking the time for actually being with us today. And he's got to get back to the trainings, obviously, because he's got another briefing.
Unfortunately, I hate it, but I have other obligations. But we're going to get Mitch in here.
So we're going to go ahead and do that. And then I'm going to take a quick break. Tim, stick with us. We're going to come back and we're going to talk to you in regards to other efforts that we might be able to do. So stick around. We'll be right back to Season with Battle Rhythm Podcast. And please stick around. We'll come right back.
As he approaches his 96th birthday, Jim Hahn still remembers intimate details about his time serving as a Marine in World War II, the Korean War, and the Vietnam War, and he also remembers how it all started.
Mother wasn't going to sign. I told her, I said, if you don't sign this, I'll lie about my age. And she signed.
He was inspired to enlist when walking down the street at 16 years old. He tells K10 he saw some people messing with a Marine and his girlfriend.
They was doing anything they could try to make him mad. He told his girlfriend there to go down and wait for him at the red light at the end of the street there. He turned around and whipped all 4 of those guys.
A year later, he was off to San Diego for basic training. Han joined the occupation force in both China and Japan during World War II, which marks the only time in the history of Japan that it has been occupied by a foreign power. A bitter time these days, though. Gunnery Sergeant Han holds tight to the sweeter moments.
It's going into Japan, there, into town. I seen all these little kids running around there, and they looked like they was hungry and everything else. So I started in getting candy from our TX and taking it in there and giving it to the little kids. It got to where whenever I'd come inside the city limits, man, here come all these kids.
What he didn't realize at the time, candy would one day become his lifeline. In November of 1950, just a few months after the Korean War began, 8,000 fighters, mostly Marines, were trapped in the Chonjin Reservoir, surrounded by 120,000 Chinese soldiers. And you guessed it, Sergeant Han was one of those Marines.
If somebody told me this, I'd have thought of him as being a liar, because I did not think that it would get 90 degrees below zero. I seen guys just walking along, and all of a sudden I could stop walking, and they was dead. They'd freeze to death while they was walking.
Freezing, barely hanging on to life. The Marines called for ammunition using their code word, Tootsie Roll.
I never will forget that. They got on the radio there and talking to them, said, send us some Tootsie Rolls. And they was talking about ammunition, a certain type of ammunition.
Well, the soldier on the other end of that radio took the message literally, and they dropped into the reservoir Tootsie Rolls.
Here's this 3 planes there coming out with these parachutes coming down there with Tootsie Rolls. It's supposed to be ammunition, but it's Tootsie Rolls. But if it hadn't been for them, a lot of us, including me, would probably starve to death.
Those little chocolate candies were the fuel that sustained the troops. All other provisions were frozen, so they survived on the chocolate.
It seemed impossible that they was there for any other reason than to save my life. I thank God many times the fact that I lived through all of it. Didn't lose any arms or legs or anything out of way. I sat in this foxhole, people all around me freezing. And some reason or other I didn't.
He says all he thought about was his next breath and how he would use it.
I don't know, I still think about it sometimes. I know that God saved me from it. Try to thank God 3 or 4 or 5 times a day about that.
Decades later, Sergeant Han literally holds on to that memory with a bucket of Tootsie Rolls made specifically for him with American flags after the company heard his story. Those Marines that made it out are now revered as the heroes of the Frozen Chosen. But this one calls Texoma home, and he chooses to spend his time right here in the Sherman VFW.
I feel like they're brothers. This, to me, is part of the military.
As this veteran reflects on a life of service most would never know, Han would do every second of it again. The few, the proud, the Marines. It was such an honor to be able to sit down with Jim, and I just want to say right here on the record, thank you for your service. Not only a World War II veteran, a 3-war veteran. He decided to just keep going back. I know.
And you know, I had heard that, I knew that there was something involving Tootsie Rolls, but that was the first time I actually heard that full story, and that is so incredible.
And he's just walking around Texoma.
Oh, how cool.
Amazing, I know it.
Welcome back to the Battle Rhythm Podcast. I am Caesar. I'm joined by Mitch Fuller, who is our national legislative and also the state legislative, and this guy is also part of the foundation, the Grunt Style Foundation. So welcome, sir, to the program.
It's great to be on there. Hi, Tim, how you doing, buddy?
What's up, brother? How you doing up there, my friend? You're killing it as always.
Thank you. I just literally got through teaching, giving a legislative update briefing to our membership, and I really one thing we emphasize is the partnership of the VFW and the Grunt Style Foundation, and it's happening right now as we speak. So it's an incredible advocacy arm and it's an incredible way for us to work together, our two organizations. And I'm proud to be in both worlds as a member of your board on the Grunt Style Foundation, and then working together with you on legislative advocacy as well.
It's awesome. It's awesome to actually see just how much of a an idea just kind of grows, and how much the partnership, being the fact that you Tim as well are also part of the VFW and know exactly right in the front of the lines where we can actually where the need was, and that's where we started getting everything kind of put together. So yeah, Bravo Zulu, like I mentioned earlier. So thank you both to that. So Tim, thank you so much. I know you're a busy man, so if you got some more time with us, please let me know. If not, then I completely understand. Your efforts are not going unnoticed. So thank you so much for your foundation, for them to actually be helping the VFW as well, because everything that you guys have done for the victims, including most of the logistics is really what has been fundamental for the recovery and the search effort. So thank you so much for that.
Yeah, it's kind of a unique position I find myself in, right? I'm
yeah.
I'm a brand owner of Grunt Style. I'm the president of the foundation. I'm a VFW member. I'm a trustee within the largest post of Texas, Post 76. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid now, I guess.
Yeah, right.
But what I'm most proud about is I get to work with people like Monica Morris, Mike Torreno, a lot of really great people that just give a damn. Right. And I think that's what makes this whole thing work inside the VFW, is you got a lot of great people that just give a damn, and they want to do more, and they don't care what you need to do to get to the objective. They'll climb over any obstacle. They'll out navigate any challenge, and we find ways of getting things done. And that's what I really have found so encouraging about this relationship. From its legislative side that Mitch and I get to work on. He's on the legislative committee that both him and I chair within the Grunt Style Foundation. And we drive a lot of unique things. Like, I have to say, this might be a bold statement, but I'm a bold person. Is that if it wasn't for a lot of the things the Grunt Style Foundation was moving when we talk about hyperbaric chambers and psychedelic assisted therapies, those conversations wouldn't be as big as they are.
Right.
And we've been moving a lot of those conversations. We moved the toxic exposure conversation into its place where it needed to be on the national level. So I think it's just a marriage, the made in heaven for two organizations that really just give a damn and will get to the objective any way possible that are working together, and I really enjoy that.
Tim, I would echo that, and like I said, I literally just got through teaching the legislative class here and updated and briefing Senate Bill 3 in Texas. The governor doesn't veto that, which would have banned hemp derived consumables without us, and that's the collective us, the VFW, the Grunt Style Foundation, the veteran community. Itself, the governor listen to us. We're going to have to re-engage in that battle as the war continues, when the special legislative session convenes.
Yeah.
July 21st. And I think the word action is applicable for all of the things that we're talking about, including, I texted you and Greg Brannon, and it was boom. The quick reaction force was initiated quickly on Saturday over the weekend. Greg, our chief of staff, called me. He's our lead in the VFW on behalf of the Department of Texas VFW, and our commander, Dave Walden. You and him are in regular communication. But Tim, thank you. That's who we are as combat veterans. The Red Star cluster went up, the quick reaction force was activated, and it was activated quickly.
Yeah, man. I felt like I was on the back 40 again. I'm like, all right, let's go. Right?
I feel like I'm in a talk right now.
That's a great That's a great point, right? There's a lot of veterans out there today, a lot of guys and gals that are, qualified to be VFW members that are just looking for purpose. We talk about suicide, and we talk about all these things that are really afflicting the veteran, and it comes to a lack of purpose. Well, there is no shortage of purpose inside the VFW, and I'm not like boop boop tooting the horn, right? I was a skeptic. I was a member back in 2008, and I left the VFW because I didn't like what was going on.
Yeah.
I came back because I found some really great people that are doing great things, and I like to do great things with great people. So that's why I'm here and doing the things that I'm doing, because this is the tribe. I'm tired of watching what's happening in our country, of the ineffectiveness of leadership. And the only people that can do it are the ones that are willing to stand up and say, I'm ready to be counted. I'm ready to get in the fight. And I find that a majority of those people are within the VFW. And I feel like if you are listening and you're looking for a fight, or you're looking for a place to go and get your voice to be heard and say, I'm tired of watching the things that are happening in our country, and veterans can provide a better way forward, this is the place. This is the place to get involved. The time is now. And I think that's how we can really change the VFW for the next generation of the warfighter, is being in a position of action, right?
Yeah.
Direct action. That's what we are. We are a generation of direct action people.
Yeah.
And let's leverage that to our strengths. Let's clean up the things that we know that are wrong, and be the people that that children can point to, say that's a great American.
Yeah.
Amen, Tim. Amen, Tim.
You know, one thing I tell people all the time on my podcast is that if you want to change something and you're bitching about what's going on in your city and in your state, and you have a problem with it, you're the problem. Get involved.
Yeah.
Get involved and get things changed, right? Like prime example. And again, I'm like you. I don't like to toot my horn or anything like that, but I ended up in the town I live in, Sherman. I ended up starting to get involved in my community. So what I ended up doing is, like, first I started with the Chamber of Commerce, with the VFW. Then I'm like, you know what? That's not good enough for me. Like, I started getting, I applied for the Planning and Zoning Commissioner.
There you go.
In the city, right. Because I hate the fact that my potholes are getting bigger and bigger. You know what I mean? And there I am, like, going in the car, like you're complaining. But I'm like, you know what? Why am I complaining if I'm the problem? Right. I need to get involved. And I tell people that all the time. Get involved. If you want something to change, you need to get involved. Yeah. And
when I got back from Iraq, I got elected to my city council. I served 7 years on my city council, mayor pro tem a couple of those years. Same way. I had we have a desire to serve as veterans. Yeah. And there's so many ways to do it. You can run for office, you can join the VFW, and to your point, Caesar, and I just said this in my class, every VFW post should join its community's chamber of commerce.
Yeah. Listen, our actions motivate others in ways that we will never truly understand, right? Because for us, we think it's common, it's what we are, it's the fabric of who we are and what we do. But there are other people in our country that look at that and be like, man, I am motivated by the action of that individual, and I'm going to get up and I'm going to do something myself. And I'm going to use my she's going to hate me for this, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to use my wife as a great example here, right? This event started happening. She was there with me on day one at Post 8800 in Belverde. We were there loading trucks all day long with Greg, making sure that we were pushing the right things out. And from that day forward, she's been on site in Kerrville helping American Legion Post 208.
I'm glad you said that, Tim. That's incredible. Kudos to your wife.
10 hours a day at that site and just providing assistance, right? And it goes beyond. This isn't a VFW thing. This isn't an American Legion thing. This is anything. This is community helping our brothers and sisters.
That's right.
That's all that matters.
And a lot of veterans, like, because my wife's like your wife. My wife is a silent helper. Like, she hates being given anecdotes or given accolades or whatever. She's like, that's not what it's about. It's about helping everybody else, and it's like, I'm just in the background. I don't care about that. And it's very, very true to the point that yes, you're in front of national, you're in front of Congress, but at the same time, that servant mindset, not everybody has. And thank you for what you do. So, Tim, thank you for what you've done, and thank your wife on our behalf, because of people like her, we're able to continue doing what we need to do as far as the mission, because the mission never stops.
That's we have a mission focus, and I think moving forward, what concerns me, and I think we all would agree with this, is mental health right now.
Yeah,
the first responders. That's critical, and there's a lot of veterans in the first responder community, and obviously the victims, those impacted. And I can't imagine what the first responders and the volunteers that are on the ground. State Representative Josie Garcia, I don't know if anybody's talked about her, a state house member. She is CERT qualified. She's been on the ground since day one as well with her team, her volunteer CERT team, and she's a combat veteran. She's a member of the VFW. So I think mental health and spiritual counseling, the SAR teams with the chaplains, I'm sure State Commander Dave Walden emphasized that, but I think we really got to, as we move forward with this, as this operation gets into its next phase, is making sure we're taking care of the first responders as well. And we've talked about this in the VFW, is make sure, because we're sometimes veterans are the last people to worry about ourselves. We're out there mission focused and drive on. We got to take it, and we forget about ourselves sometimes. So Tim, make sure you're getting rest. Telling Greg Brandon the same thing. You guys are in constant communication. We got to take care of our own.
I'm working. I've got like 3 things happening right now. Like
I can tell. I can tell. I know you're looking at your phone. Yeah,
exactly. But it's fun. Like I live for this stuff because it gets me, like, I feel like I'm contributing. I'm doing something that my actions are working towards something that is just not me making money for somebody. That's so like. Right, but over here, like just helping people, and like that's so damn fun.
You know what it reminds me of, and I can see you're paying attention to what we're saying, but you're doing, you're multitasking. It's like you that feeling, that adrenaline feeling that you felt when you were downrange, and you're in the thick of it, and you're making decisions all at the same time. That's exactly how I feel right now. That this is what we live for, and these like high tension situations is what we're obviously trained for.
I feel like I'm back on active duty right now. I mean, I was on stage giving a legislative briefing, and somebody said podcast, multitask. So next mission, man, before this one, this one, it's what we do, though, man. That's what we do. Yeah.
Before I let you guys get back to teaching and logistics over here, I want to share with you guys a message that the Commander-in-Chief Al Lipphardt from the National VFW sent this morning. We were planning to have him on the show as well today. Unfortunately, he's in the middle of travel, so he was not able to join us. But he did want to say that he is very proud of the fact that the Department of Texas has been at the forefront of this, and along with the Grunt Style Foundation, we've been able to form that strategic partnership to be able to do what we're doing right now, and that is serving our communities like we're supposed to. And and being able to provide for those that are in need at this time.
Yeah, the VFW National Commander is an incredible human being, decorated Vietnam, but wounded Vietnam veteran, Purple Heart, Bronze Star with valor, a tremendous leader. And it's. I talked about this just a few minutes ago, Tim. I said the bond that was established last August in Kansas City, and particularly you and him. If that didn't work, y'all connected immediately. It was like,
that was my homie.
I'm telling you, man.
He becomes everybody's homie. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Like, how can you not bond with that dude? He's cool.
Amazing, man. He's amazing.
There you go. Hey, big dude.
And that American Grit podcast you did with him, Tim, on July was incredible. I mean, that there's love there, and I don't think that's too strong a word. There's love, and we need more of that in the world too.
The crazy part about that is that when I extended the same invitation for him to be on this podcast, he said, "I will come to you." I said, "Wait, what?"
Right, that's him.
What?
Follow
me.
He's like,
yeah. He's like, no. He's like, the first one, I will come to you. The others, we'll do over Zoom. Right. I said, okay, that's great. And I questioned myself. I was like, why is that? He's like, because we have to establish a very good working relationship. Because how am I going to really gauge how you are as a person and as a leader as well?
Screen.
Exactly.
Right.
And it's just weird. Great man. I have a lot of respect for him, and I think the VFW needed that type of leadership at this moment in time.
I'm super excited for Carol Whitmore to come online.
Oh, first female commander. Yeah. First national commander, and Carol Whitmore is incredible.
And I challenged her 2 years ago to come on this podcast. She's like, yeah,
she will.
And
Army Iraq War veteran. She's incredible. Yep.
Yeah. So we're gonna have her on. So it's beyond. So Mitch, like let's talk about a couple of other things here coming up that are how many of our teams, how many teams we have on the ground right now?
2. We got 2 teams on the ground.
Okay. And Tim, that's including your teams as well, right?
And we're kind of in dispatch, deliver, and depart mode. That's kind of the doctrine of emergency response.
Perfect.
And the universe has got Greg Brannon and Tim Jensen in the right place at the right time. I mean, Greg is amazing, long-term, so much experience at disaster relief. The last National Guard unit I served in, I went through all of the FEMA training, incident command systems, and it's been about 12 or 13 years ago. But that's helped me mentally get my head around this as well. And one of the first things you have to be concerned about is overwhelming the site, to getting control of the situation. This becomes a logistical operation, and search and rescue. But everybody wants to help, and they want to overwhelm the site. And so Tim and Greg have helped get their hands around this, their brains around this. And so in the Texas VFW, we've got 23 districts. 2 districts can't participate because they were affected. But I'm looking at our whiteboard here in our ad hoc talk, and we most of the looks like over half of the districts have identified a post or a place inside of their district as a staging area to move to the five places that are staged to go to the site.
Yeah, we just got information that San Saba, up there near these Marble Falls area, is in desperate need, right, of people, right? If people, we need people to send. So there's constantly evolving resource needs, right? Sometimes
Exactly.
it's water, sometimes it's axes. Right now it's people, right? So it's evolving. You don't want to have too much of any one particular thing, and it's got to play it very carefully.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we need. Like, definitely the manpower is usually what we sometimes lack, and that we don't want to make our first responders 100% that, because they too are people, and they too get very, very tired, exhausted. But you know what, they too, I want to send out a big shout out to them, because they are doing the work that most of us did in these humanitarian efforts that we did throughout the decades, like Kosovo and other areas like Haiti, that we were able to provide that type of help.
Yeah, the Marine Corps, and Tim being don't say former Marine, Tim being a Marine, that the humanitarian stuff around the world, it's the Marines that are the first ones on the ground. Hurricanes, tsunamis. And I do have an update here. Post 7108 in Helotes, which is in the San Antonio area, that post commander, Stephen Starbuck, he's also the district commander for District 20. So Steve's been on the ground. He's got a team on the ground right now. Our state chaplain for the Texas VFW just departed to embed with Stephen. So the chaplain side of this, spiritual side of this, tied to mental health, and getting your head around this, and turning to God if that's what you want to do. Is important. Something else that was mentioned yesterday as Greg was in here and we were kind of having discussions, service dogs, the recovery dogs, they got to be taken care of too. They are affected by this,
right?
Making sure they are fed.
Yeah.
And I heard a discussion about, using raw chicken, and not just kibble, but giving them some protein so they've got the energy. They don't want to quit. They'll go 48 hours straight. And there's been some very, and I love dogs. I own 2 dogs myself. And there's been some great pictures of them. We've also got cook teams deploying to Burnett, Marble Falls to support. We got a barbecue team in Texas, so we've got some our Texas VFW. So we've got some cook teams. Everybody needs to get fed, and we've launched that capability as well too.
Hey guys, I got a question on our socials. Who would we contact the volunteers to be boots on the ground?
Myself or Greg would be the people to reach out to. We're controlling the efforts, making sure that it's flowing the right way. So I don't know what the best way of reaching out to some of those are, but I'm pretty accessible on social media. If you want to hit me on social media through Facebook or
Tim, I just got Greg was just telling me there's not a need right now. There's kind of everybody's overwhelmed right now. So. That happens. That evolves too. So if a call will, we'll put something out on. So if there's a need, but right now there's not a need for more volunteers.
Yeah, right. Especially in the Kerrville post, right? Yeah, the Kerrville post is completely full at this point, which is great. Not that we're denying you guys help, but
make a monetary donation. To the Texas VFW Foundation or the Red Cross. Monetary donations right now are always going to be needed.
So, but the post 7108 is the one that actually does need the the help, right?
The San Saba will lead.
Yeah.
1480 in Kerrville. Yeah.
Okay, 1480.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, this is great. So this is what we're here for, and this is what I proposed yesterday to these guys that I want to do my part in a way, right? So being a media guy now, I guess you could say, I wanted to have a reach and actually give everybody else that is not able to actually hear or has not been able to hear, we've been hiding under a rock. But this is important for us to actually do something like this, like a makeshift telethon, I guess you could say, where we can actually give you guys information about what's really been going on, what both foundations have been doing, what the VFW, the Grunt Style have been doing. But this is fantastic. And Tim, thank you so much for being here with us and donating your time for us. I know you're a busy guy and you've been getting texts left and right with all this logistics. And thank you so much for what you've done and continuing to serve in a different capacity. Now that we're former military, but you're still a Marine.
Yeah, right.
Always a Marine.
That's right. Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate the relationship. And I appreciate everybody listening. This is what makes it all work is, we have, all of our own personal lives that are happening, but when we contribute our time towards others, the universe is a better place. And I think that's what we need a little bit more of today in America, because we need to be pointing at who the right Americans, what right looks like for our next generation.
Exactly.
Behind us. So I appreciate your time, guys, and I appreciate everybody's efforts and everything they're doing to contribute towards this disaster.
Thanks, Tim. Love you, brother. Thanks, man.
All right, Tim. Well, you'll be hearing from me very, very soon. I will definitely extend an invitation to you to be part of a guest on my podcast. We can talk other things besides the Marines. We could always talk about how you're still part of the Department of the Navy.
Whatever, dude.
All right, buddy. Thanks so much for joining us. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to have some other guests that coming on. Dude, this is going to be a telethon, so it's going to be awesome. So, thank you, Tim. Thank you, Mitch, for the time that you spent with us here today.
Thank you.
So, all right, guys, we're going to take a quick little break. Again, this is with the Battle Rhythm Podcast. You're listening to us on Voice of the People USA Radio TV Network, also on BC Digital and on Patriot Radio. So when we come back, we're going to be talking to some other people. So stand by.
If you don't like standing on the sidelines but still want to make a difference, then tune in to the Battle Rhythm Podcast. Picture this. Fighter jets roaring through the sky, field artillery radars scanning the horizon, and soldiers charging forward, grit and determination etched on their faces. We start in black and white, honoring the past, but then, boom, it's full color, reflecting the vibrant, resilient spirit of today's veterans. The Battle Rhythm Podcast isn't just about military strategy or historical battles. It's a lifeline for veterans, a platform for voices often unheard. We dive deep into mental health, tackle suicide prevention, and build strong community ties. With guests from non-profits to military advocates, we're here to make a difference, together. Join us every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Voice of the People USA Radio and TV Network, and be part of something bigger. Because when the battle ends, the rhythm continues. Subscribe now and let's march forward.
Why do 90% of regulars say the Black Sheep Lounge just feels different? Is it the hand-picked cigars, the signature cocktails, or the warm, welcoming crowd? Let's find out what makes this place a true Denison gem. At the Black Sheep Lounge, we believe in celebrating the finer things without the fuss. Our walk-in humidor is stocked with premium cigars for every palate, from those discovering their first smoke to lifelong aficionados. But we're more than cigars. Our bartenders craft old fashions the old-fashioned way, rich, smooth, and perfectly balanced every time. What really sets us apart? It's the atmosphere. Picture low lights, plush chairs, and a community that welcomes newcomers and regulars alike. Whether you're looking to unwind after work, catch up with friends, or just enjoy a quiet moment, you'll find your spot here. So, swing by 127 West Main Street and see why the Black Sheep Lounge is downtown Denison's unique hideaway. When it comes to your home, don't settle for good enough. Choose the crew who lives by integrity and excellence. Here in Dallas-Fort Worth, EGA Construction is a veteran-owned and operated company. meaning discipline, dedication, and honesty aren't just buzzwords, they're our way of life. With over 25 years of experience, we take pride in delivering on time and on budget every single time. From stunning remodels to steel buildings to tenant finish-outs, EGA is your one-stop shop for all things construction. Because you deserve a partner who listens, communicates, and stands by their word. We're not just building spaces, we're building trust. Our team's military background means sharp attention to detail, transparent process, and a relentless commitment to your satisfaction. And as proud sponsors of the Battle Rhythm podcast, we keep our ties strong with the veteran community. Because service doesn't stop with us, it continues in everything we do. Ready to work with a team that treats your home like their own? Choose EGA Construction, where precision meets passion.
Welcome back to the Battle Rhythm Podcast. I'm Caesar. I'm so thankful that you guys are here with us today. We are just going through the motion of helping out, right? Our fellow citizens are also fellow veterans that are actually have been affected by the unfortunate things that have happened, right? The floods, Texas floods, they happened on the 4th of July. And as we've highlighted before, and I'm just going to go through a couple of things that we've talked about with Commander Dave Walden and Tim Jensen, which is a great guest. I'm going to highlight some of the things that we've already talked about today. So as of 7/12 at 10:15 this morning, there have been 68 tons of supplies that have been delivered to the affected areas. We've had daily deliveries of supplies to the Kerrville, San Antonio, and other identified areas that have been affected. Operated a hub and spoke model. That's what we've been doing. We've supporting feeding operations in Burnett and Marble Falls starting this coming Monday. It's just awesome that the amount of people that actually want to do that. We're also trying to get a mental health team on standby, coordinated by the state surgeon. So because remember, not only are the volunteers put in this time, this is a traumatic experience for many of the search and rescue folks that are there. At this point, it'd be search and recovery, really, because it's been a few days now. So we want to thank everybody that's been here so far. The Commander Walden and Tim Jensen. And I'm going to introduce you guys to my next guest. I've been trying to get this lady to be on this podcast for about 7 months now, and I finally cornered her in. So welcome to the show. And please give her a big welcome to the VFW Foundation President, Beth West. Welcome to the show, Beth. How are you?
I'm well. How are y'all?
I'm glad that I finally was able to corner you to come on the show. I mean, this is what it comes to. I mean, I had to twist some arms around here.
It's been a year.
I completely understand. So, just to kind of bring you up to speed, we are doing a makeshift telethon, basically.
Awesome.
This has to be in response to what's been going on with the Texas floods here, especially with the Kerrville area, the San Angelo area, and some other parts of Texas, where right now the Grunt Style Foundation, along with the VFW and the VFW Foundation, have been in the forefront of all this. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what the VFW Foundation has actually been able to provide so far?
So far, we are taking donations for the monetary support. I have been in contact with one of the volunteer fire departments whose station took in some water and they've lost some equipment. So I'm working with them to see exactly what their needs are. He has responded. I just haven't been able to follow up because we've been up here with training for this weekend. Donations can be made through our website. When you click on the texasvfw.org, there's a donate button in the top right.
Yeah, which I have highlighted out there, texasvfw.org.
If you go to the bottom, there is a drop-down menu. It says where most needed.
Okay.
But if you click on that little arrow, disaster relief is one of those.
Okay.
Some are designating specific posts, so there'll be like a pass-through donation. Others will be pulled into the disaster fund itself,
Okay.
and then my board and the VFW will disseminate those hopefully weekly, if not bi-weekly, depending on the needs that we're receiving feedback on. And that's where Greg and our quartermaster are instrumental in giving us that information.
So is there, I know people have actually asked whether or not they need like some physical items. Is there any physical items that they can drop off that you think of? Like, you know.
I'm going to leave that to Greg. He's coordinating those efforts.
Okay.
We're handling the financial. As a C3 public charity, it is much easier for businesses and corporations. It's usually in their policy to not donate to 19, even though it is tax deductible.
Right.
So we're that hub for that. Yes, I have heard various things. The last list I heard was they needed, oh goodness. Definitely. But I've also seen a post recently from one of the, I think it was Kerr County maybe, that were asking for donations, monetary or otherwise, for the big machinery.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So
Like,
I don't know if they need rentals. I don't know if they need volunteers. I'm going to leave that to that side because they have more manpower than I do.
But you're still instrumental. You're still instrumental in all this, so it's not that you haven't been able, you know.
I do know that they have. I think one of the things that I'm focused on too is coming from a first responder family, the emotional strife of going through all this. So relief for them, both volunteers and the little snacks and the love and the support. That's super important. Monetary can also go to the veterans' households.
Right.
We do up to $500 for each household. The reason for that is they need gas, they need food cards, they need whatever it takes to sustain them so they can figure out where to go next.
Right.
And they're actually able to apply for both. They can apply for disaster relief as well as the Veterans Assistance Relief.
So they definitely can do that through the VFW Foundation website. So just go.
Tab, just click on Need Assistance, and that'll take you to the request for financial assistance for the specific individuals.
Perfect. That's great to know because I didn't even know that you could actually apply for both.
You can apply for both.
I'm gonna apply for both because I am in need. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not in need.
I get that a lot.
What do you need? I need help. What kind of help? Yeah, mental. I don't have that for you. That's completely different. So, but it's great. So I started highlighting and sharing with everybody right now, and just kind of doing a synopsis of what we talked about before. So far, as of 10:15 this morning, and the Commander Dave Walden talked about this. We've gathered 68 tons of supplies and they've been delivered to the affected areas. There's been daily deliveries of the supplies to Kerrville, also San Angelo, and other identified areas. And we're trying to support feeding operations in Burnett and also Marble Falls starting this coming Monday. I know past State Commander Lynn Toomer and Sean Terry was the senior vice for the Department of Texas VFW Auxiliary, and her what is it, a second man in, what do they call it, second man, right? Because he's a second man, right? Eddie Terry, right? Because he's the first man, second man, yeah. Eddie Terry will be heading out to Marble Falls tomorrow, and they'll be there Monday to start feeding that. So
I also heard there was some flooding as far west as Menard, and even some on the Rio Grande.
Oh,
and I don't know if you've seen this stuff in New Mexico as well. So
yeah, in New Mexico, I've heard of it, like
it's just getting
bigger and bigger. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I don't see this. I mentioned this earlier. Like, this is really weird for July, like June, July. We've had so much rain on it. Like, I've been here for 5 years in Texas, and I've never seen it rain this much.
Well, it is very so we might see this again.
I know, right? It's apocalypse. It's coming. Revelation, book of Revelations is coming soon. I don't know. 7 seals about to be broken, or maybe they just didn't. Or maybe they just didn't change the baby Jesus' diaper.
Oh, Lord. We just went a whole different direction, didn't we?
the whole 10-pound baby Jesus. Oh God, yeah, I'm gonna keep my day job. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, this is a very live show, so I'm a shock jock, I guess. I don't know. We'll see, but let's see. Hey, I'm telling you, we got the numbers, we got the names, so we're here, and I proposed this. I wanted to make sure that I did my part as far as serving, because if we're able to get this out to the people, people might be able to actually donate not only time but also other things, and especially monetary that it's such a need of, and without people with like the Grunt Style Foundation and the VFW Foundation, and also the just people from the VFW Post, both auxiliary and VFW, we would not be able to. Who knows who would be the forefront or the leading people that would be doing this stuff.
Texans are great at taking care of Texans, especially in the veteran community. And like I've told some others, this is very personal to me. My family's from the Fredericksburg area.
Okay.
I grew up with my feet in those rivers and creeks. We've owned property all over that area at one point in time. And so it is personal. I still have family.
Yeah. It's crazy you mentioned about the personal part of it. It kind of got personal for me as well, and I'll tell you why. So my wife's friend, well, it's our friend, but a coworker, and she's been very her daughter and my daughter are very good friends, and so her daughter had gone to that same camp 2 weeks before, and so when it happened, she called my wife, and she's like, I don't know what I would have done. She was just, I don't want to say freaking out, but she was freaking out. Yeah, because it's very personal.
It is. There's an auxiliary member whose niece was one of the ones lost from Camp Mystic. So it is very personal to the Texas VFW family.
Yeah. At this point, I think that's but you guys can definitely do your part. Go ahead and log on to the texasvfw.org, and then log into the donate part, and then just do your part, man. This is exactly what we do. And like I mentioned, I always say this on my podcast, and you guys have heard it before. And involvement, servitude, and this is what we need to do. This is what we are.
And feedback, please don't be afraid to send us an email at foundation@texasvfw.org. If you have questions, if your business wants to donate, you need a copy of our RIS determination letter, any of that information, don't hesitate to reach out.
Yeah, that's important, because we can't be. My show's not political. I will never be political, but we cannot rely on federal assistance all the time. We have to be, because it takes forever to get anything, right? I mean, we've seen it in other disasters like Katrina and other things, and we just cannot have that. We are in need right now of those monetary and physical things. And like somebody mentioned earlier about the service dogs needing food too. I mean, we forget about that, because you have a lot of search and rescue dogs that are out there. They need that.
But who better to coordinate logistics and response than veterans?
Exactly. We've been trained for this. We've been trained for this. Like, we're like, okay, how are we serving? Oh, we're going to be joining the VFW. Okay, well, let's, a lot of people, a lot of people are like, oh, we're going to go out and drink. Like, no, hold on a minute. This is where the rubber meets the road, and this is where we're trained for, and this is what a lot of us still long for, that we want to keep doing this stuff. Right? I mean, this is like, I mentioned to Mitch earlier and to Tim that it reminds me of actually being out, downrange in the front, and be like, okay, we're doing this, then then multitasking and making sure that everything is done. And, the adrenaline that comes with it, it's different.
Exactly. Y'all are trained and prefer to run towards crisis, not wait.
Right. That's why that flag if you ever see the flag especially on the Army, that it's facing forward, it's because we're running toward danger, not running away from it, and that's what that signifies. And most people don't, unless you've been in the military, most people don't realize, they don't catch that. They're like, oh yeah, that's true. They have that. So.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, we would not be able to sustain without family members. So thank you for what you've done. So
just keep, even if this crisis doesn't fit your budget and your timeline to donate that time, talent, and treasure, keep us in mind in the future, because there's always something around the corner.
Right. And that's not that we're, we have to keep giving to these organizations and these foundations, because somebody may need it down the road. Right.
We can't count on, like you said, the federal assistance,
right,
including the VA. We have no idea. That budget's up for grabs every year. Your local grassroots, like the Texas VFW, the Texas VFW Foundation, all the other affiliates, all the other VSOs, our sustainability is what protects our people in our community.
Right. Let me ask you this, and be very transparent with it. Say I'm just listening to the show, and I have no ties with the military. I mean, I know I have military friends, but none of my family has been in. Those people that are in need, is the foundation also able to give some type of assistance to somebody that's just like it just needs it.
If they don't have the veteran in their household, the other assistance is
Mhm.
not for them. Disaster assistance, we always take care of our own because they're the ones that do run in
Right.
first and they forget to take care of themselves. It's kind of like on the airplane, put the mask on and then you can do it for everybody else.
Mhm.
After that, we can help community members.
Okay.
But we definitely want to take care of the ones who are on the front lines.
Which is fair, you know what I mean?
Well,
It's a-
it's veteran preference because we
Right.
are VSO
Right.
first, but that doesn't mean that we don't care about our community and that we won't be there because many veterans would pass that check.
Yeah. See, that was my tough question for you. Not to put you on the spot. You're like, that's the last time I ever come. That's the last time I ever come here. But so the first time I met you was in midwinter down in Corpus Christi, and we talked about a lot of the things that you have been able to accomplish not only with the foundation, but what is the one thing that keeps you going every day?
Knowing that it is, well, let me back up. My background is accounting, very black and white. That's my degree. I was business. all the
Also
way.
red.
Funny. I don't like red. So when I went into public accounting and then corporate accounting, all of those jobs, it was so difficult, especially tax season.
Uh-huh.
Here's what you owe the government, and then here's what you owe us.
Right.
That's the most uncomfortable, unrewarding position. So for me, it's that something is mundane as accounting is still giving back every second.
If you, well, you're already in charge of an organization, but I'm gonna change the question for that. If you were president for one day, what president of the U.S.?
Oh, geez, okay.
What would you want your legacy to be, or what would you change immediately?
That's a really great question. I believe in I went to the U. O'Brien Youth Foundation Leadership Camp at Lackland Air Force Base.
Mhm.
And the one thing I remember from there at 15 years old, the best leader that is still remembered today is the one who served.
Yeah.
So if we can't change leadership to show service 1st,
Mhm.
like we'll sweep the floor too,
Yeah.
then it doesn't work.
And I think people are more apt to actually follow that leader
Absolutely.
because it just shows that
Like
they're
one gentleman I know says, you got to be the janitor first.
right.
And they have to see you be the janitor. That's now how that would come into play logistically, I don't know. I mean, but
Yeah.
that would.
I don't mean to make you cry. I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh, it's okay.
God, I break hearts, make people cry on this show. I don't know what else to do. I don't
There's
even.
your new nickname, Heartbreaker.
Well, my daughter tells me that all the time. What'd you do? No, I broke his leg. I said different. I broke his leg. But she's 7, by the way. So just see. Yeah, she's yes. She's breaking my heart all the time. Yeah, I love you, Sophia. I know, I love you, Sophia. It's very refreshing and rewarding to hear that in your mind one of the best leaders is actually to be a servant leader. Again, I think many of us that actually join the VFW don't want to get involved, right? And we're like, nah, I'm just gonna go because I want to go out there to the canteen and drink, or be with my fellow people. And then there's that select few that actually will take on an actual leadership, and that just keep serving, because being in a post, you have that post leadership and everything, but you just keep serving and keep doing things in your community.
I see it. There's 3 types of members.
Uh-huh.
There's the ones who don't mind doing the admin. They don't mind being that quartermaster. They don't mind being the commander. They don't mind coming to meetings, and those are great. We need those too. The second kind is the one who will never show up to meeting, doesn't care about the admin, but they'll be at every event you have. They're sweeping the floor, they're bringing whatever's needed, they're doing it all, but they're not going to come to a meeting. And the third one is what I call the jams, just a member. They're a card-carrying member, but that card-carrying member has a voice in Congress every year.
Yeah.
And you need all 3.
I had a mentor of mine actually say to me, there's 2 kinds of people in right, kind of what you were saying in the VFW. There's one that says, what can I do for the VFW? And the other that says, what can the VFW do for me? Now it's up to you to decide which one's you're going to be, right? And I think for the first few years, it's the latter, because they want to know what the VFW can do for me before I actually can get involved and do what I can do for the VFW. And I think it's just a social thing.
I agree, and I think that's why you and your podcast are so important, because I think the reason the first question is, what can it do for me, is because they don't know what it does.
Right.
And they don't know how to ask that. So they say, well, what do I get out of it? Whereas if what we did was out there where they knew what the VFW did first, then this question would be, how can I join?
And the way you can join is by going to that website right there, texasvfw.org, and actually click on the donate button and actually donate for our cause here. That's a good segue. Good job. See, we make a good team. I know. See, you're welcome to come to the show anytime you want.
Yes, sir.
And it happens by actually answering that phone.
You were so correct. I will save your number.
Yeah. Oh, you didn't say it? Oh, I see how it is. All right. And the truth comes out, ladies and gentlemen. With that said, heartbreaker. Oh, that went deep. Real deep. Anyways, but hey, guys, thank you so much for listening. Thank you for joining us today. I know it was very quick, but I definitely want to do a more in-depth interview with you, because I believe a lot of people have a sort of a misconception, and or they don't really know how the VFW Foundation works, right? Because yes, it's part of the VFW, but there's a whole lot of different things that actually we're able to do with the foundation that the VFW itself is not able to do. So there's a lot of misconception with that, right? And it's just because people just don't understand.
They don't know.
So, and it's, so I definitely want to do a breakdown. And the reason why I also want to do a breakdown is because I'm actually going to have a very good friend of mine, the past immediate state commander of Alabama, Eric Dudash.
Yes, I know him.
Yeah, so he's been really interested in actually getting a foundation started for his state. So he would be a great person to actually have on, because he's got the questions that, for them to actually start their own foundation.
I've helped several departments do that.
Exactly. So who else would it be? Again, we'll bring him on and he'll ask you the tough questions. I'll just be like on the background drinking a
Cup of coffee.
Yeah, black with Coke, maybe coconut rum. I don't know, maybe. But hey, you're listening to the Battle Rhythm Podcast here on Voice of the People USA Radio and TV Network. Beth, thank you so much for joining me today. We are going to be taking a quick little break, and we're going to come back, and I'm gonna dive in with Greg, who is the Chief of Staff for the Department of Texas, and he is going to be. Yeah, I put you on the spot. Yeah, we're just gonna have a gamut of people coming up here. I asked Dan earlier. He's like, "You have to pester me like I tell my staff. You got to pester me for them to come back." I said, "Okay, that's fine. I'll do that at some point." But yes, you're listening to the Battle Rhythm Podcast here on the Voice of the People USA Radio and TV Network, also on Busey Digital and on Pager Radio. So when we come back, we're going to have Greg, the Department of Texas Chief of Staff, and Beth. Thank you so much again. So we will see you very, very soon.
Yes,
save my number, and we will come back. So we'll come back. Thank you.
If you don't like standing on the sidelines but still want to make a difference, then tune in to the Battle Rhythm Podcast. Picture this: fighter jets roaring through the sky, field artillery radars scanning the horizon, and soldiers charging forward, grit and determination etched on their faces. We start in black and white, honoring the past, but then, boom, it's full color, reflecting the vibrant, resilient spirit of today's veterans. The Battle Rhythm Podcast isn't just about military strategy or historical battles. It's a lifeline for veterans, a platform for voices often unheard. We dive deep into mental health, tackle suicide prevention, and build strong community ties. With guests from non-profits to military advocates, we're here to make a difference together. Join us every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Voice of the People USA Radio and TV Network.
Why do 90% of regulars say the Black Sheep Lounge just feels different? Is it the hand-picked cigars, the signature cocktails, or the warm, welcoming crowd? Let's find out what makes this place a true Denison gem. At the Black Sheep Lounge, we believe in celebrating the finer things without the fuss. Our walk-in humidor is stocked with premium cigars for every palate, from those discovering their first smoke to lifelong aficionados. But we're more than cigars. Our bartenders craft old fashions the old-fashioned way, rich, smooth, and perfectly balanced every time. what really sets us apart. It's the atmosphere. Picture low lights, plush chairs, and a community that welcomes newcomers and regulars alike. Whether you're looking to unwind after work, catch up with friends, or just enjoy a quiet moment, you'll find your spot here. So, swing by 127 West Main Street and see why the Black Sheep Lounge is downtown Denison's unique hideaway. Pull up a chair, light up, and raise a glass with us. You belong here.
This is why you need a dock built by veterans. This is why quality matters, wherever you call home. This is why Scott's Construction does it differently. At Scott's Construction, we don't just build boat docks, we build legacies. As a veteran-owned, family-run company out of Alabama, our roots run deep in discipline, service, and attention to detail. Whether your waterfront is a quiet lake in the south or a bustling marina up north, our custom docks are designed to fit your life and last for generations. Our team handles everything, permits, design, and flawless construction, so you can focus on what matters, making memories on the water. We're proud to serve boaters across the USA, and prouder still to stand behind every board we lay. Choose Scott's Construction for your next dock and experience the dedication only a veteran-owned company can deliver. Ready to raise your standards? Let's build your dream dock together.
I think I messed up. I thought all Harley shops were the same, until I walked into Texoma Harley-Davidson. Trust me, this place is next level. Picture this, a place where riders are family, and the open road is always calling. Texoma Harley-Davidson, right here in Sherman, is run by Kenny and his crew. Real riders who actually get what the ride means to you. From custom bikes and killer gear to award-winning service that's earned them the Harley-Davidson Gold Award, this shop is as legit as it gets. They're not just selling motorcycles, they're building a community where you belong, whether you're a veteran, a weekend warrior, or just bike curious. And here's the insider move, swing by. Mention you heard about them on the Battle Rhythm podcast, and experience true hometown hospitality with a big-time selection. It's your next ride, your new crew, and your ticket to freedom, all in one stop. Texoma Harley-Davidson, go beyond the ordinary. Let's ride.
All right, welcome back to the Battle Rhythm podcast. I am Caesar. I am joined here by the Department of Texas Chief of Staff, Greg. How are you, sir?
Good, Caesar. How you doing?
I'm here living the dream, one nightmare at a time, I guess.
Yeah, somebody's dream.
If it was raining, it would be a wet dream. Thank God this is not a kid show.
Too soon.
Too soon. Yeah. Too soon. Yeah. Exactly. That was horrible. But Greg, I first of all, let me say thank you for what you've done so far. I mean, you rose into quick action in order for the VFW, not only VFW, really just more of a citizen concern. Really, that's how it started. The fact that you're in the organization and you're able to have that leverage to be able to use the strategic partners to mobilize was wonderful.
Yep, and it started for me. I have a meteorology background, so I've been watching the weather, and I do local weather for the community that I live in, and so I put stuff out there. Before of the impending rain that we were supposed to have, nobody knew that we were going to get this much rain, but there was a possibility. Then after it happened, we kept watching it, and then even the post that I started out at, Post 8800 in Startsville, Texas, Canyon Lake. On Saturday, they started a drive. We're going to get involved. We're going to help people. We're going to start collecting.
And this is because you started putting out that there was going to be some weather?
Well, yeah, because that's my community.
Okay, gotcha.
There was a need, and they started hearing about the flooding, and we hadn't stood up this network yet. And they said, we want to start doing this. So the Post actually started doing this with help from the members of the community. And there was just a need. There was a need, and the response from the community, and this community in Canyon Lake, they had suffered Winter Storm Uri back in 2021.
That's the same effect, right?
They were impacted. I mean, granted, the impacts were differently,
right?
But that community was still impacted.
Gotcha.
And the outpouring of support and relief that came in from around the state to help this community that was hit.
I don't think a lot of people knew about that.
No, they didn't. And so they had a sense to serve. And I'll tell you, 8800, with the help of some local community folks, they were busting at the seams within the first 12 to 24 hours.
That's
to the
great.
point where I reached out to Mitch. Mitch and I started talking, and he's like, let's get Tim Jensen involved. I called Tim on Saturday night. I didn't wrote. Mitch texted Tim on Saturday night. me, him, and Tim, we started calling, and the first pickup of supplies with Tim was on Saturday or Sunday morning at 10 o'clock.
Wow,
And
that's
he took
quick
everything.
turnaround.
Yeah, he took everything from the VFW post, and they pushed it forward,
And
and then it took off.
that, not to be bragging or anything like that, but that is just using your resources to the max, especially because he already has a massive distribution, logistical, not a nightmare, but the logistical network that he's able to utilize. That's great.
And Tim, I can't say enough about Tim, and he's been doing a phenomenal job, and we have built a really good, not only a network and a partnership through the VFW and the Grunt Style Foundation, but I've gained a friend out of this. And if you've been to disasters and you've responded to disasters, I've been doing this for almost 30 years. In either responder or support, you build those connections.
Right.
And through this, I've built connections with first responders. I've built a connection with Tim, and I gained a friend.
Yeah.
I've gained a friend out of this.
That's great.
So, to kind of put a bow on that is, we got together, we've communicated, we found the need, we serve, and we put assets on the ground where it's needed.
That's the biggest thing I keep telling people about the VFW. People, like I was telling Beth, a lot of people think that the VFW is just a place to go drink and it's just a smoky area, things like that. I mean, yeah, that was a conception, right? Like, it's a big misconception because now it has become more than that for me, where you go in and you have things that you could serve, community, get involved in. That's really what it's about. Because I don't know about you, but after I got out of the military, it was like, I'm missing something now.
Yep. And that something, and missing something, is when you walk into that VFW post, and once you break down those initial, who are you?
Yeah.
What are you doing here? Then the door is open. And I, having been a post commander several times and having been a district commander, there is that stigmatism, and we have to get around that stigmatism of VFW equals BAR, and that's not the truth.
What do you think about this? I feel like there's been a sort of a shift on things that have been going on within the organization itself. We've always done it this way. We've always done it this way. Do you feel like there's a big shift now where it's like, you know what? Yeah, that may have worked then, but times are definitely changed. We need to evolve with the times. Do you feel that this has been that shift has been more significant in the last few years than it has been in the past?
Yeah, and we've had incidents like this, the flood, and we've had incidents like Hurricane Helene, and we've had the floodings in North Carolina that have prompted the folks. And the VFW of old, there's a certain way that they used to do things, and now through different people joining, different motivations, the VFW is evolving, and I think this is kind of setting the trend or setting the way forward for other VFWs as well. We're going to stand up these teams. We're going to stand up an operation. We're going to put it in writing. We're going to have an AAR and say, hey, everybody, if you want to do this again, or if this happens to you, this is the model that we used. So the VFW is changing, and it's not like the VFW from your grandpa and your dad. And,
right.
It's a different generation.
Right.
And we're motivation driven. And to your point of, sitting back and watching it happen, we're all military.
Right.
And, for me, for this last week, there was an itch.
Right.
The itch was, I was always the one in the response, but now I'm happy with the one, I wanted to help out. I went up to Kerrville on Monday afternoon. We delivered supplies to volunteer fire department. That fire department was wiped out. The apparatuses still had the mud on them. The community is wiped out. And you've probably heard this on TV several times. The pictures don't do it justice.
Right.
The pictures don't do it justice.
Because you only see this much, and then everything else behind, in front, whatever. So
you don't see the debris fields that they have to go through. It's huge. And so that itch is, I got that itch. I wanted to go up and help, and then I saw it, and I was like, I'm good.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to help from behind the scenes.
Right. And I mean, it's devastating to even hear the fact that many people were still in not accounted for. I think the worst part for me, being a young parent, that I have a 7-year-old, and to think that these parents entrusted, not that entrusted, but they sent their kids to camp, a Christian camp and whatnot, for them to be closer to nature, getting them outside, getting them out, not being in front of the television, not being in their phones, and to hear that that perhaps one of their kids were not accounted for just yet. That's devastating for
Yeah,
somebody.
And the rock star teams that are out there doing search and recovery efforts, you just can't say enough about them, because I'm hearing stories every day. This is an example of what happened, and they're digging people up and they're finding things. It hits you differently,
right?
And for any responders that are listening, they could probably agree, or they will agree. It's different when there's an adult involved.
Yeah, much different.
But when there's a child involved, it just hits differently.
It does.
And I've heard that several times from folks that have been on the ground 36, 40, 48 hours, 72 hours. They said, it's taking its toll.
Yeah. So, like I mentioned earlier today, on Tuesday, it's my regular day that I do my show. I definitely want to have you come back and also Tim to give us an update as to what else we have as far as over the weekend, because obviously today's Saturday. We still have a couple more days before Tuesday, but obviously there's a lot of things that can happen within 3 days, 48 days, 48 hours or whatnot. But I want to have come back and give us an update on all these things. And I'm just so thankful that I'm part of an organization that actually still cares about its community, because we are part of the community. Just because we're part of the organization doesn't mean that we stop being part of the community either.
And if anybody ever questions what the VFW does or how fast the VFW does it, or if we really care,
right.
I mean, look, we've been doing this since essentially Sunday afternoon, Monday morning, and we put 68 tons into where it's needed. 68 tons, and we don't have aircraft, we don't have logisticians. It's Grunt Style Foundation. It's the VFW, the Texas VFW, doing it.
And from what I understand, when I was speaking to one of the national reps, I said, "No, we kind of left Texas to do that work."
Yep, we do everything bigger and better in Texas.
And that's the reason why we're still the largest department.
That is correct, and we're going to keep being the largest department.
Right. So, what do you foresee in this year as far as our commander's plan? How do you foresee us being able to execute that plan?
He's got a lot of motivated people around him. He purposely pulled and selected the people that he has on his team, because of their background, because of their motivation, and because of their experience.
It's like I was telling Beth, it's hard to find those people that actually do want to leave, want to be involved in to that degree, right? Because again, people don't realize that this is a volunteer organization. We don't get paid for anything other than we pay it for us to eat lunch that we're missing right now.
Exactly. It's a generational shift.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say that, we are getting people. We have a vision for the VFW, at least in Texas. We've got to think outside the box, and a lot of us are still working. I work a full-time job in addition to this. So how do we get those people that work a full-time job and a family and balance that the work-life balance? You hear the work-life balance term used all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Now for the VFW, you have to add that third work-life VFW balance. And Commander Walden's got the saying, and he can tell you, and if anything ever comes up with your family, he'll tell you, family first. Take care of the family.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're here to help you. And then when you're ready to come back, come back.
Yeah.
And so we're trying to tailor some of the programs for his year, for families. Have a movie night, have a family event, have a kids event at the post, and show the community that we're more than just a BAR.
Yeah. Which is exactly what we need, because we have a lot of non-members that are eligible for the VFW that don't join because they're again they have a stigma or the misconception that it's just a old time bar that they just go in there and smoke, and no, it's more about families.
Yep. And I've had people come to me and go, "I'm not eligible to join the VFW, so I'm not going to come support this event." And I look at them, I'm like, okay, what does being a member of the VFW really get you?
Mm-hmm.
You come to the meetings, you have a voice and a vote, and you have some programs, and you have some, the camaraderie, and you have some VFW programs that are accessible to you as a member.
Yeah.
But if you're a member living in the community and there's that VFW there, we love, come on up, help out, volunteer.
Exactly. So, Greg, thanks so much for joining us. I know that our time is pretty limited here as far as because we still got training. But I still want to make sure that you guys realize that I still have the website up on our screen here, texasvfw.org. And as Beth mentioned, go into the donate button. Go ahead and go through that. Right now, there is not a need for anything physical that they need, right? So what I believe, if there is anything that's going to be needed, an update will be made through the Texas VFW Facebook page.
So we have a way that we're going to do this is we're going to send a message out through all the posts in the districts and saying this is the immediate need and do the distribution. To your point of the volunteers helping out in Kerrville, the city of Kerrville and a lot of these other locations have said, hey, appreciate it, but unless there's an immediate need or you were requested or that you've signed up and have been vetted as a volunteer, don't show up because we're going to turn you away.
Okay, so there you go. You heard it from the person that actually been doing pretty much all the logistics along with Tim, which we appreciate. But with that said, I want to thank every one of you that has joined us today on this special edition of the Battle Rhythm podcast. Tuesday, I will have Greg back and along with Tim to give us an update as to what happened over the weekend and how much more what need we have, because it's going to be, it changes almost hourly. It changes right as to what the needs are. So again, you guys please tune in on Tuesday at 9 o'clock Eastern. 9 p.m. Eastern, and then what we're going to do is we're going to have an update on that. So again, this season with the Battle Rhythm podcast. Thanks so much, Greg, for joining me for the last 3 minutes. And you do have a face for TV, not radio, my friend. So thank you for being here.
Thanks.
All right. So again, we will be back on a regular show on Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern. You are listening to the Battle Rhythm podcast, and thank you so much for being here with us today. Voice of the People USA Radio and TV Network. Please check us out on the apps. We're also on Roku TV, also on Fire TV, and also on connecttoyourcity.com. And thank you, BC Digital, and thank you to our sponsors, Texoma Harley Davidson, also Black Sheep Lounge, and also EGA Construction, and also Scott's Construction out of Department of Alabama, out there somewhere in Alabama land. So thank you so much for those. And also to the American Legion Riders, who are my sponsors for the website. Thank you so much to them for believing in this podcast. So we'll see you guys on Tuesday at 9 o'clock Eastern. If you guys have any questions, please look out on the Facebook page for the Texas VFW. There should be some updates there throughout the day to make sure that you follow us on them as well. So again, texasvfw.org for you to donate. It'll be on the description of the show at the following this. And I will see you guys on Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern. Thanks again, and we'll see you guys very, very soon. Have a blessed day. You guys don't go anywhere. We have more coming up on our app. There's many, many more shows, and please make sure you check those out. Thanks, and we'll see you guys soon. Thank you for watching. As we wrap up today's show, we want to extend our heartfelt thanks to each and every one of you for tuning in. Your support and engagement means the world to us, and we hope you found today's content insightful and entertaining. This episode, along with all previous shows, is available on all major media platforms. Whether you prefer to listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or watch YouTube, we got you covered. Be sure to subscribe, rate, and leave a review to help us reach more listeners just like you. We'd love to hear your thoughts and feedback. Connect with us on social media, where you can join us in our conversation and stay updated on the latest news and episodes. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Thank you once again for being part of the Voice of the People, USA Radio, and TV Network. We look forward to bringing you more exciting content in our upcoming episodes. Until next time, take care.